Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into one of the most mysterious creatures in all of folklore, a beast of such colossal proportions and terrifying power that it has haunted the imaginations of sailors and landlubbers alike for centuries. Imagine, if you will, the vast, inky blackness of the deep ocean, a realm where light barely penetrates and pressures can crush a submarine like a tin can. It's a place of unfathomable wonders and unspeakable terrors. For generations, whispers have carried on the salty winds, tales of a monster lurking beneath the waves, a leviathan capable of dragging entire ships down to their watery graves, leaving nothing but splintered wood and desperate cries in its wake. This creature, known by many names, but most famously as the Kraken, is not merely a legend confined to dusty ancient texts. Its shadow, many believe, still stretches across the ocean floor, a living testament to the primordial fears of humanity facing the unknown. But what if I told you that this terrifying behemoth, this tentacled terror from the abyss, might not be a creature of pure myth after all? What if the terrifying sagas of the Kraken were not just the ramblings of superstitious sailors, but chillingly accurate accounts of encounters with a real, flesh-and-blood animal, a creature so immense and alien that it defied easy classification, becoming instead the stuff of nightmares? For centuries, it was dismissed as fantasy, a tall tale spun over mugs of ale in smoky taverns. Yet, as our understanding of the ocean has deepened, and as the incredible secrets of the deep have slowly begun to yield to scientific inquiry, a startling truth has emerged. The line between myth and reality, in the case of the Kraken, seems to blur, perhaps even vanish entirely. Get ready to plunge into the cold, dark depths with us as we unravel the legend of the Kraken and ask the question that has haunted explorers for centuries. Could this truly be real? The whispers of the Kraken stretch back to antiquity, though not always by that specific name. Pliny the Elder, the Roman naturalist, in his encyclopedic work Natural History from the 1st century AD, described a giant squid-like creature, calling it polypus of immense size, with arms so thick that they could be mistaken for tree trunks. He even recounted a tale of one such beast being captured, weighing over 700 pounds, its preserved arm displayed for public awe. While perhaps an exaggeration, it painted a picture of early knowledge, or at least persistent rumor, of enormous cephalopods. However, it's in the Norse sagas that the legend of the Kraken truly takes hold, imbued with the dramatic flair of a seafaring people. The Icelandic sagas, dating back to the 13th century, describe a massive sea monster, sometimes depicted as a giant fish, other times as a squid or crab, so vast that its body could be mistaken for an island. Urvarar's saga mentions the Hafgufa, a creature so enormous that it could engulf ships. But the most detailed and influential accounts come from the 18th century. Erik Pontoppidan, Bishop of Bergen, Norway, compiled a comprehensive natural history of Norway in 1752, in which he dedicated significant passages to the Kraken. He described it as a creature of immense size, round, flat, and full of arms, so large that its body could easily be mistaken for an island when it surfaced. Fishermen, he claimed, would sometimes mistake its back for land, anchoring their boats on it, only to be dragged down when the monster submerged. Pontoppidan estimated its size to be roughly 1.5 miles in circumference, a truly terrifying prospect. Even earlier, in 1555, the Swedish bishop Olaus Magnus, in his Historia de Gentibus Septentrionalibus, a description of the northern peoples, depicted a monstrous, multi-armed sea creature attacking a ship off the coast of Norway, a graphic illustration that undoubtedly fueled the fears of northern European sailors. These accounts weren't just fleeting mentions. They were detailed, persistent, and often corroborated, or at least echoed, across vast distances by different seafaring cultures. The creature was said to dwell in the deep waters off Norway and Greenland, rising only to feed, or perhaps to cause havoc. It was the ultimate metaphor for the ocean's terrifying power, an entity that could swallow entire vessels whole, its tentacles strong enough to crush the sturdiest of hulls. For centuries, these stories were considered pure superstition, the products of an unscientific age, born of fear and poor visibility on the open ocean. But ancient texts describe something truly monumental, something that defied the known limits of biology, yet felt chillingly real to those who lived and died by the sea. For the longest time, the kraken was relegated to the realm of pure fantasy, a monstrous figment of superstitious sailors' imaginations. But then, science began to catch up with folklore. The turning point came in the mid-19th century with the discovery of the Architeuthis ducks, more commonly known as the giant squid. Before then, our knowledge of truly massive cephalopods was limited to fragmented remains and speculative drawings. In 1857, a Danish naturalist, Japetus Steenstrup, definitively identified and named the species based on a large specimen washed ashore in Jutland. This was a pivotal moment. Here was a creature, a real, living animal, that reached lengths of up to 43 feet including its tentacles, possessing eyes the size of dinner plates, and a beak powerful enough to shear through flesh and bone. Its existence, once purely speculative, was now undeniable. Suddenly, those ancient tales of the kraken started to make a lot more sense. While not quite island-sized, the giant squid was, by any measure, a truly colossal and alien creature. Its deep-sea habitat meant that encounters were rare and often terrifying, likely leading to exaggerated accounts that evolved into the kraken myth. Scientists now believe that many of the kraken sightings and ship attacks attributed to the mythical beast could easily be explained by encounters with giant squids. Imagine seeing such a creature in the flickering light of a storm, its massive eyes staring back, its tentacles snaking through the water. It would be an image to haunt a sailor's dreams. But the giant squid wasn't the end of the story. In 2007, a new, even more massive cephalopod was captured, the colossal squid, Mythical hamiltoni. This beast, while not necessarily longer than the giant squid, is significantly more massive, reaching weights of over 1,000 pounds and possessing the largest eyes of any animal on Earth. Its body is much broader, and its arms and tentacles are equipped with rotating hooks, making it an even more formidable predator than its giant cousin. While these creatures don't actively attack ships, a collision with a large, agitated specimen, particularly one disoriented or defending itself, could certainly cause significant damage to smaller vessels, perhaps explaining some of the more violent historical accounts. Scientists believe these deep-sea giants spend their lives in the frigid, crushing depths of the Southern Ocean, largely unknown to humanity. The existence of these two undisputed leviathans of the deep forces us to reconsider the tales of the kraken, no longer as pure fiction, but as possible eyewitness accounts of real, terrifyingly large animals. The evidence suggests that the monster of legend might very well have been a biological reality. Even in our modern age, with advanced sonar, deep-sea submersibles, and satellite mapping, the ocean remains largely unexplored, a vast frontier hiding countless secrets. It's estimated that over 80% of our ocean remains unmapped, unobserved, and undiscovered. This enormous unknown leaves ample room for the truly colossal. While direct, kraken sightings in the mythical sense, a creature actively pulling down large ships, have largely ceased, likely due to stronger modern vessels and advanced navigation. Encounters with truly enormous, unidentified marine life persist. There have been numerous credible reports from submarine crews and deep-sea researchers of unusually large, unidentified creatures on sonar, often much larger than known giant or colossal squids. These tantalizing blips on a screen hint at something even grander lurking in the abyss. One famous example includes a 1970s account from a Soviet submarine, which reportedly encountered a massive creature in the Pacific, measuring hundreds of feet long, which mimicked the submarine's movements for a prolonged period before disappearing. While these accounts are often anecdotal and difficult to verify, they fuel the enduring speculation that something truly immense still awaits discovery. Furthermore, scientists have analyzed the stomach contents of sperm whales, known predators of giant squid. Some whale stomachs have yielded beaks or scars from suckers that are significantly larger than those of any known giant or colossal squid specimen. This biological evidence points to the existence of an even larger, as yet undiscovered species of cephalopod, a truly monstrous deep-sea dweller that could potentially dwarf the giant squid and even the colossal squid. What could these marks belong to, if not an even larger species? Could the mythical, ship-destroying kraken be an exaggeration based on an ultra-gigantic version of these known species, an animal that simply hasn't been formally identified yet? Critical analysis demands we remain cautious, as sonar anomalies can be misinterpreted, and whale scars could be from multiple smaller encounters. However, the persistent, consistent nature of these indirect clues makes the possibility intriguing. So, what's the final verdict on the kraken? Was it a genuine monster of the deep, a living embodiment of terror, or merely a fantastical construct of fearful minds? The answer, like the ocean itself, is complex and layered. The mythical kraken, the island-sized beast capable of effortlessly sinking large sailing vessels, is almost certainly an exaggeration, a powerful narrative born from fear and the vast unknown of the sea. There is no scientific evidence to suggest a single cephalopod could grow to a mile in circumference and routinely attack and destroy ships in the manner of legends. However, the core concept of the kraken, a colossal, multi-tentacled creature lurking in the abyss, was absolutely, definitively real. The discovery and scientific classification of the giant squid, Architeuthis dux, and the even more massive colossal squid, Mesonichoteuthis hamiltoni, proved that the ancients were not entirely wrong. They encountered something immense, something alien, something terrifying, and their descriptions, while embellished over time, stemmed from genuine encounters. These creatures, once considered mythical themselves, are now established facts of biology. But does that mean there couldn't be an even larger, as yet undiscovered species? The scientific evidence from whale stomach contents and tantalizing sonar anomalies suggests that the possibility cannot be entirely dismissed. Our deep oceans are vast, dark, and mostly unexplored. It's plausible, even probable, that there are species of colossal cephalopods still waiting to be formally identified, creatures that could surpass even the known giants in size and awe-inspiring mystery. While they might not be actively pulling down modern battleships, their sheer scale and alien nature would be enough to inspire the kind of awe and terror that birthed the legend of the kraken. So, the kraken, pure myth or tangible reality? It's a blend of both. The legendary ship-destroying monster is likely an exaggerated reflection of real-world encounters. But the underlying creature, the colossal, tentacled behemoth, has been found, identified, and scientifically validated, proving that some myths hold a kernel of terrifying truth. And perhaps somewhere in the crushing darkness of the deep, an even grander kraken, a true leviathan, still swims, waiting for the day it emerges from the shadows. What do you think, myth or reality? Let us know in the comments below.